All right, so let's work on an intro here. Let's do a good intro here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Stogies with Bogey, a Father's Day special. We've had a very eventful week here. The week prior to Trump's birthday, 79th birthday. We're going to talk about that a little bit because I was not planning on doing a show, but I just thought, just like all good news journalists do, they jump on all the clickbait that's out there, and I figured we can have some discussions just about the chaos picture that the world's wanting to paint for us right now. So we're going to discuss some of that, but I'd like to start off by reading a couple Father's Day quotes because that'll get us where we need to be. So first one's from John F. Kennedy, in case you've ever heard of him. He says, to father a child is to commit to a life of teaching honor, resilience, and truth. I like that one because that's more of the duty of a father, and it's something that I definitely appreciate from my dad. Next one's from Marcus Aurelius. The father's duty is to stand as a pillar, unwavering, in the face of life's trials. I thought both those quotes were pretty powerful quotes, and just very, I would say, not basic because they're very significant, but very fundamental in what I'm pretty sure Jimmy's doing right now, but what I would be trying to do, and definitely what I took a lot from my father. We've had a lot of ups and downs as a family, and a lot of it is like family loss. We have unexpected family members pass away. A lot of that, roll with the punches is something he always said, and he gets it from Rocky Balboa, so it's kind of plagiarism, but just to roll with the punches, man, and just make the best of what you got, make the memories with who you got around you, and just keep on keeping on. So all those cliches are true, but when life smacks you in the face, that's when those cliches actually matter, not when you're buying them from a kitchen store and putting signs up in your kitchen. But so I just thought I'd share those two quotes with you guys because JFK was a pretty good guy. I think Marcus Aurelius was a pretty good guy, pretty well known. I was actually explaining capital S Stoicism to my wife the other day because you kind of like forget that Stoicism is a philosophy, right? A borderline religion almost. Without it's without a god. It's more of just a centered focus. But he was a big guy there. It looks like we lost Jim, and we'll get him back soon. But you got anything to say to Pops or about fatherhood, Camp?
No. But when you said cliches, I think we should bring cliches back, right?
Yeah.
I think we should bring cliches back.
I had another one in my pocket that I wanted to release was bring pauses back.
Pauses.
Like just like verbal and situational pauses.
Yeah.
And I know pause meant something like a couple of high school classes ago when they would say pause. I think it meant I think it was there no homo. I think is what I had to have my baseball team explain it to me because they kept saying it. And I go, what does that mean? And they're like, is this kind of suspect? Is this kind of, I was like, oh, we used to say no homo back in the day.
Yeah.
So,
pause. Yeah.
Yeah. So pause was a good one, but bring back the pauses, which means just being able to speak and listen, really listen and process, and then return a response. And that the pauses are important. They give people the ability, and I think that's why a lot of people are flocking towards the podcast. Get Jimmy back in here to finish my point, but oh no, okay. We'll get Jimmy in here to finish my point, but bring back the pauses. Joe Rogan and them, they have their pauses. We have our pauses, not to compare us, but we have those pauses to where the audience is able to make a thought in their heads without just getting hammered with more content and consuming. So it just pushes that thinking responsibility back on people. And I think that's where the lack of the responsibility of thought, that pause, bring back the pause. It'll give people that perseverance through to hear their own voice. Jimmy Camp said, bring back the cliches. I know we just said a lot of things that you can say are cliches, but bring them back because a lot of them, they're cliches for a reason. They've been working for the test of time. And go from there. Jim, is the wife streaming Game of Thrones? Your interconnection seems pretty rough.
Is it still bad?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
No AirPods now. I tried to switch it up.
It's working pretty good. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're fuzzy now, which is normal. Jimmy, you got anything on fatherhood? You're the only dad here with experience. You're what, 2 years and some change experienced?
Yeah,
2.5 years almost.
Fatherhood is all about self.
That connection's bad.
It is really bad. He's gonna need to get closer to that router coming back. But yeah, now Jimmy's exactly right. I've seen that picture before too. It works with other relationships too. But with parents even more, because that's literally a piece of you, right? I mean, they give that on. We've talked about the righteous death in the past. I mean, you're ready to do that. You're ready to bend for your family. Bend but not break. Breaking is not an option. So, Camp, we'll just have to deal with this. I'm not gonna uninvite him, but hopefully he can get closer to his router. Go give it a hug. The next thing I wanted to talk about was just to give a shout out to Brady Bogart. He was supposed to join too. Hopefully he gets on. But Brady Bogart's the man. Didn't get to see him today, but get to see him next weekend for his birthday. Both my parents have birthdays within a week of their respective parental holidays.
Oh,
so
okay.
we got to be a very small percentage in the Bogart household for that. So it's easy. It's easy to share. It's easy to make sure if you miss one, you can get the other. You get a 10-day span. You got a 10-day span of getting the parents. So it's And my parents are cool enough to do that. They just if we can coordinate all four of us, three of my siblings getting around, they're happy enough. So do that next weekend. But I just want to give a shout out to him. You can give a shout out to your dad if he's going to watch this. You're normally
still editing and stuff while
get him on the Jesus has entered the chat. Yeah, I know you like that title.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why my internet.
It's either that or What's Up, God. But we'll get right into what I wanted to talk about, which basically, if we go in chronological order, I mean, they had the Army 250 anniversary parade going, which just happened to be on Trump's birthday. So if I happen to, I mean, Trump's been alive for now 79 years, having the same birthday as the Army, so it was no secret. It was out there for public record. So if he found out it was the Army's birthday and he was, a young guy like us, and he was like, you know what, I'm going to become president. So that way, if he started 50 years ago and he wanted to do a birthday on an Army birthday, by all means, that's fine. He's in charge of all those toys. He was not the old ones, but he's in charge of all the new toys we got. So hopefully he plays with them nicely.
And he I don't know if you've seen the video. He was on an interview with Oprah. I mean, it had to be in the 90s. And he was just like, or she asked him, she's like, do you have any aspirations of being president? He was like, no, but this is a country I live in and I wanted to see it do well. Yeah.
He basically said, like, I would only step in if I thought that the people that were just going to ruin it. That's kind of what everything, all his old stuff leaned to that.
Yeah.
So, but who knows? He's supposed to be a time traveler, right? The book.
I saw that about Barron. About Barron. I saw that.
Barron,
yeah.
Barron's Trump's Marvelous Adventure or whatever.
He's kind of an alien looking. He's a weird looking kid.
He looks like he knows something I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone, when Trump and Musk were going back and forth, they were showing pictures of him like kind of like hating the world, and Musk doing his thing at one of the things. It was like that Elmo meme when Elmo's like this, and the girl puppet's going crazy. But so maybe he knew. Maybe he knows what's going on. But who knows? I think he just gets that from his mom. I mean, I've never seen Mrs. Trump ever smile.
Yeah. Definitely the same facial. I mean, Donald, he doesn't. I mean, he smiles, but he has, when he's just like engaged, he has that same. Yeah. I mean, we all have that face, but yeah, I think he gets it from Ivanka. Or what's his mom, Ivanka, right?
Yeah. I like Trump's little this one. Those are my favorite. Those are just my favorite. They're just little funny quirks. But yeah, the parade, chronologically speaking, we knew that was going to happen before all this other unexpected, or some people say expected, but unexpected things happened. I wanted to start off with the LA riots. I guess they're officially dated to have June 6th. I guess is when they started acting up over there, getting a little crazy. due to the mass deportations. And then even more is what the governor of California, Newsom, is trying to say, that, the more people they sent over there, the more rioty that they got. The more peaceful protests occurred, the more military that showed up, according to him. So I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts, because I remember the last time we had riots, it was during COVID, and it was a tumultuous time. We couldn't go outside, but everyone else could go outside as long as you were like burning things down. Before we get going, we got Pops in. We gotta let him in.
Knock, knock.
I knew you'd be outside. That's where camp. So he was invited to do a video. It might be the same exact shirt you got on too.
Old Osprey.
He might have. Yeah, he was asked to do a video for like baccalaureate or graduation for the villages, and this is how he did it. He looked like he just got done running a mile, and then he gave some motivational speech. They loved it though; it was fantastic. But it was up close and personal on like a big like cafeteria gymnasium jumbotron screen. Yeah. You see big old head in the sun. So thanks for joining us.
You want me to go a little further away?
I mean,
you want to look at the gray hairs in the nostrils, whatever you want.
I mean, right now you have a maximum of 24 views that you could be expected to be seen on here. But no, thanks for joining. We just got done. Quoting some smarter people than us about fatherhood, but I just want to have you on here because I called you before you were at dinner. Where'd you guys go? Where are you guys eating at?
Los Compadres. Right down the road.
There you go. Go for it. A little Mexican food.
Arroz con pollo. Then I just finished watching JJ make a putt to win. He made a putt on the 18th to win by 2 strokes.
Oh. It was a mess there after the rain delay, so that's good.
Yeah, he made it in the rain, but good for him.
Yeah.
A little exciting. All he had to do was make par, but he ended up making birdie, so he won by 2 strokes. Everybody started chanting USA.
What was the winning score?
1 under.
I thought I was going to end up in the positive camp. The U.S. Open at Oakmont, they're like known to, like, their marketing is like, we're going to make this as hard as possible. Like that's their one, like their one and only goal. And he had guys throwing clubs and acting all kind of like little whiny babies out there. But the winning score after 4 days was 1 under, which is insane. So I would have been 1 under 300, or
yeah.
I would have been a couple clubs down too. I would have been in the water. It was crazy. Well, thanks for joining us. You're the first. You're not really a caller in technical specifications thinking, but you did call in a little bit into the show. So
yeah, Rambo's going nuts right now.
Freaking dog, man.
Dog. So yeah,
I wanted to ask you something about fatherhood. Who's your favorite kid?
Really? That would be Jonathan Camp.
Yes. Who's your favorite kid on this podcast right now?
Me, Jonathan Camp. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. The disrespect.
Who's on the show tonight? Is you and Jonathan?
Jimmy's been, he's going 15 rounds with the internet connection right now, so who knows if we'll see him. But
what about Ryan?
No. Ryan had other plans. There's Jimmy. Let's see what happens here. This is just a free-for-all right now.
Yeah. There ain't no way he gets a good internet connection going.
We're going to try one more time, fellas.
Yeah,
Jim, just get closer. Get closer to the internet connection, man.
You need to go plug that computer straight into the Ethernet cord, dude.
That's not a bad idea.
Either way, Pops, what if you had to give Jimmy, who's a little bit too late to give advice, I guess, but if you had to give any bit of advice on how to raise kids as messed up as we were, or as chaotic as our household was, what's your advice?
Dude, you just got to love them, man. Play with them. Don't ignore them. I think what goes on in the world nowadays is I think a lot of parents are ignoring their kids too much. So we didn't ignore you guys. We based everything around our kids. So we might have done it wrong, but that's how me and your mother wanted to do it. Everything kind of revolved around y'all. So, and we had fun with it. So even as much as I was in and out with all the coaching sports that I did, so I'm sure Jimmy will put his attention on that once he figures out internet. But um, yeah, that's all I would tell y'all to do. I mean, anytime I hear people getting married and all this, I tell them, give time for you and your honeymoon, your wife and your newlyweds. Give time for that, and then once you decide to have kids, everything changes. So if you have kids right away when you get married, then the time for you and your spouse is different than if you give 2 years to hang out and do whatever y'all want to do and see the world. Then you start to have kids, then but it also depends on how you want to raise your kids. So that's what I've always said. So um, me and your mother got married, waited a little bit, did our thing, started our teaching and coaching and all that stuff. Had you, and then kept rolling about every other year and a half.
Yeah, because
But
you were
everything.
playing. I mean, you were playing minor league baseball for a while. When did you
Yeah.
stop playing minor league baseball compared to when I was born?
When did I stop playing? 96 I stopped playing, I think. So
Yeah, so I was like,
we were still hedging size 1 diapers, so to speak. So, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't too far after that because that's kind of when I was running out of arm strength and saying I got to get a real job and raise kids, and that's pretty much what happened. So that's all I would tell you guys, man. Have fun with your spouses. Have fun. Me and Mom were different because we were high school sweethearts, kind of like you know, Garrett and Madison are. So it's a little bit different than how you and Rachel were, and then how Austin and Chelsea were. But y'all definitely need to spend time with each other before you start popping out kids. I would recommend, because then it changes. I mean, if you're going to be the parents that we all think y'all can be, so I think all
yeah,
y'all are going to be good kids. We were actually talking about y'all when I showed Uncle Derek that you got a podcast, and he's tripping out, and they both want to follow you, so they might be, your 25th and 26th followers, maybe. But
the problem with the podcast stuff and the family, and you got the in-laws asking about it and stuff. It's like, if you guys actually listen to it,
hey, I listened to it
you're gonna
driving
see
home from Daytona to Inverness just on Thursday when I was driving back home
which
here.
one.
The Jesus one, your fourth one.
Oh, Jesus has entered the chat. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
Jesus.
best.
That was good, man. Y'all had each one of your verses and stuff, and it's good to see, that y'all are into that, and it's good to see Ryan's into that too. And I think a lot of kids nowadays are going back to the church. So whatever church it is, whether it's
Yeah,
Catholics or whatever, and we're hoping. We just talked about it at dinner when I was telling Uncle Derek about it, and Kathy. We're hoping that the age of the 26 to 32-year-olds are gonna raise their kids properly, and we don't know if it's gonna be that way, but I think the buddies that you hang out with and the buddies that Austin and Garrett hang out with, I think for the most part, we're hoping and praying that y'all get these kids straightened up, so when they do get into a school system, it's not chaos, and it's
yeah,
actually education.
yeah.
That's what that's just
I
my.
will. I will say a lot of the times the critical side of parenting, especially that I was just coaching baseball not too long ago, but and you were just in high school system not too long ago, but sometimes the over attention to kids, it's different how you guys did it to what I've seen now is like catering to kids. Like some parents cater too much to their kids and let them make the rules. Yes, you guys nurtured us and listened to, like, if we wanted to do hobbies or anything like that, or what was going on in our lives with friends, but it was still what mom and dad say, go, right? It was still like, you get our attention, you get all our love, we're going to give you the best life, and you guys 100% did. But it was still like, this is what I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm making this, like, we knew you were in charge. There was no us bullying you guys to figure out, like, and but that's kind of what I've seen now, is that you see, like, yeah, they're good parents, they have a good quality of life, but you got these kids that just get to run the show. I don't know why. I just don't know why. So I'm not asking you to solve it. I wanted to let people know
No,
that you weren't like catering, give like whatever Cody says he gets. It wasn't that at all. So definitely
well,
raised right. Brag about you guys all the time, because I mean,
you
for
don't.
4 for 4, no prison, no craziness in our lives. That's pretty good for 4 for
It's
4.
pretty good.
That's
That's good
better
to
than
have
the Bible.
good to have a
That's
lot of
better.
family members in the military and in the law enforcement too. So
The big family keeps you in check. There's a lot of people to keep you in check. That's for sure.
yeah.
But
World revolves around you guys, man. So
I feel it. Well, thanks for substituting my phone call during dinner to join the podcast as the first call in on Father's
man,
Day. So
I'm honored to be on the podcast.
you're twice the age as Jimmy, if not more, and you figured out the interaction with
You were able
technology
to
better.
first try go.
My sister's probably there. She's like, Carly, help me real quick.
No, Carly is actually driving home from Fort Pierce. She worked one of those baseball tournaments down there, so I figured it out. I figured it out on my own.
There you go.
So I didn't have my phone on me when it was dinging, and then I said, "Let me get up and check, see who it is," and then it was you, and I was like 7:59. I was like, okay, but I still wanted to see the end of the golf tournament.
Yeah, fair enough.
So,
JJ spawn over me. I get it.
yeah.
So before we let you go, because I won't have you stick around for the entire thing, but I want to get your input on the craziness that happened this past week. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to let you guess what the craziness I'm talking about is. But give me your summary of this past week of the world.
God is great, beer is good, and people are crazy.
I'll take that.
There's sometimes songs that dictate what goes on in the world, and people have the right to express feelings if that's what you're talking about. Because it's all over the world. Yeah, exactly.
I need something stronger than beer, but that's.
I think if you know me by now, I really don't get involved in too much of that stuff. So, people have their opinion. Let's just say, and especially over there on that West Coast, things are a little bit different, I believe, than it is over here on this East Coast. But I just don't like when innocent people are getting hurt. When the people that lay their life on the line for us, those are the ones that are getting hurt over stupidity. I mean, I really don't like the stupidity part of anything, but if it's a protest or if it's something like that to where it's not violent, then hey, I 100% get it. But when you got somebody who could be a 26-year-old guy who has kids at home and his life's on the line, and we got idiots out there, that's what really drives me nuts in the world. So this the stupidity of people that they think what they're thinking and their thoughts and how they show their way of protesting, they think it's the only way, and it's not. So hopefully that was your question, and because I'm assuming all the videos I've seen, but I try to ignore ignorance. I always told students when I used to teach them in high school, when kids are acting stupid and saying stupid things, just ignore ignorance. Sometimes as a coach and you get certain parental issues and you just ignore ignorance. That means you just, Taylor Swift, shake it off, shake it off. Here I am quoting, that's 2 songs I've quoted so far, Cody. So that's not bad now.
Two episodes ago, Camp quoted like 16 movies. You have to step it up.
I can't do that, but I did quote your little Father's Day, I'm the pappy GIF. I told Uncle Derek about that one, so that's one of our.
I knew you'd like that one. Camp, you ever seen the movie?
Top 5 movie. That's one of my
you
top
seen the movie
5
Life?
movies.
The movie Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence.
Oh, when they're in jail.
Yeah, I sent my dad the Bernie Mac. Goes, I'm that pappy. I'm the baby's pappy.
I'm the pappy.
I'm the pappy.
Yeah.
I got my T-shirt that Uncle Derek bought me, and you gonna eat your cornbread. So great movie, one of my favorites. So
that's awesome. Yeah, Camp and I do the opposite.
Agenda. What y'all's on your agenda today for tonight?
All the crazy stuff that you're ignoring, which is probably wise. We'll figure that out soon. We'll get your age. We'll be like, why are we stressing out or talking about any of that nonsense? But we got to live in it. We got the LA riots. We got the No Kings protest that happened Saturday. And we got all the deportations that are supposedly causing it, plus why we care about so much the wars happening on the other side of the earth.
Yeah.
So, I only care about
that.
What do you say, Cam?
I was going to say, I only care about any of it because it fluctuates the market, right? That's the only, I have to do the news, so...
And all you young guys that's interesting for y'all because I'm too poor to know about the market. So, I'll just keep eating my my powdered milk and $1.25 cereal.
Government cheese.
Yeah.
Some rope.
I told my kids I grew up with that and food stamps. They don't know
Yeah.
about the powdered milk, so yeah.
The people always talk about like the creating generational wealth, but you did it with life experience. I mean, our stories are a lot better than stories you've shared. So yeah, you're doing it in the right way. I give you that.
Yeah, food stamps and government cheese. So
Love you for it. And now we're out here. Now you got 4 kids out here trying to do the same thing. So
yeah.
we'll take care of you. That's the whole point.
Happy.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. I'm hoping. Take care of your mama.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day to old Jimmy. And Camp, maybe. I mean, you might have some out there with 10 different baby mamas. I don't know.
That's the 3rd time today that happened there. That's the 3rd time.
That's wrong. Lord, I apologize. I shouldn't have said that.
No,
It's okay. He's
not
your
me.
you're his favorite, Camp. That's okay.
Yeah,
Let that one slide.
it's not for lack of trying. I just don't think I got any kids out there.
Nah, don't worry about it. You got time. All right. Well, I'm getting bit by mosquitoes, so.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, and talk it up, man. Figure out the world's problems. Let everybody know about it.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
And then those 25 viewers that get to be 50 will get to be 150, and keep on working on your catchphrase.
Yeah. It's bad. I'm the type of guy that I benefited from like plays in football. Like I'm better at passing the ball with a play than I am just pick up in the backyard. But man, am I bad with like scripts and speeches and stuff. I don't want to follow them. I don't want to follow the rules anymore.
Well, when in doubt, punt it and play defense.
There you go.
All
right, fellas.
Love you, Pops.
Mr. Bogart.
Y'all. Take care, guys.
See if you can. There we go. Well, look at that. Thanks for entertaining that, Camp. That was fun.
No, it's always.
He'll appreciate that. He'll show his grandkids at one point that right there. He was on TV. He'll call it.
Yeah, it's no, it's always good to. I mean, I know I should talk to my dad more. I'll text him every now and again. I mean, I text him today, but we never. And my mom hates it that we just never were like a super close, like touchy. Like my dad wasn't raised that way. Like I'm sure your dad wasn't. Just like the time frame, right? And it's always more. Where'd your dad grow up? Did he grow up in Inverness?
Yeah.
So I think it's always more prevalent in smaller communities. The times just kind of lag behind. We might have talked about that. It just lags behind. So even if, let's say, our parents grew up in the 60s and 70s or 80s, like it was probably like the 1940s there, just in like the way the culture had like developed. So like it's just like an older school mentality, which is nice. It's having morals and stuff like that, which is good. I just think it's always fascinating how bigger cities, like even the cultures just like speed up. Whereas like it feels like I was raised probably maybe more late 90s than 2000s.
Like our teenage years or like our actual kid.
Right?
Yeah. I agree with the same. Yeah. I've been called an old soul. I get along with Seamus Schroeder, who's a 40 plus year old.
Yeah.
Like old school military family, just because, like you said, it lags behind. But you see that now. The electoral maps show that it's the progressives, whether for good or bad, they're more down the line of progressivism than the smaller towns. That's why they look like that. So I think a lot of it has to do with, if you were well off, you're well off. But also like those small towns, your social skills are a little bit more on the personal level. Mm-hmm. Like you can't really get by with superficialness. Like small towns, like who people are, good or bad, and like that. I mean, all that stuff matters. Like it really matters because there's the integrity gets tested. You can hide in a crowd. You can hide in a bigger city. That integrity.
When your town has 5,000 people, you ain't hiding.
No, and I think that's a big reason for it. So,
and your name means something too, right? Because like in my town, we have I think 5,200 people. And like everybody knows my last name, right? So like I'm not out there. I mean, granted, we go we go in the woods and, do stuff like that. But like you're not getting in trouble. I mean, you might get trespassing, but nobody's committing like nobody's committing like serious egregious crimes, like because you're fishing on somebody's property or shooting coyotes or, whatever it might be. But it's different than, I guess, living in a big city.
That's true. Yeah, and same thing, Jimmy. I know we had I said the stupid line of cheesy line in like episode 1 or 2, who had the smallest town or whatever, but they wrote a country song about it, so it's kind of catchy. But same thing. Yeah, you have that integrity, Jim. We were talking about like just how the older times or the smaller towns kind of lag behind the bigger towns of like how we were raised. Like we were probably all raised more like people were raised in the 90s in the bigger cities, just because of how times go. And I told them that's the electoral map. That's kind of how the world works. Those big cities move fast. They try to move forward. They go and they go, and the more people you get, you got to change the rules. I mean, you have to. The more people, and especially the more diverse. This is not a knock on diversity and my argument for no diversity ever. This is just you have to do it, but you have to do it wisely. And you still have to come back to a foundation, right? I mean, you can add additions to your house, and you can add more rooms to your house to make it bigger, but the foundation's still got to be clean it, and the foundation's got to be good, and the shit's got to flow downhill out of the house. So, yeah, it's just it's fun. That's exactly what I expected him to say when I asked him about the crazy stuff in the work, because he doesn't give two craps about it. He's just looking for He's looking for right-handed pitchers that throw hard in 88. He doesn't care about it.
My dad's the same way. He doesn't. I can't even talk to him. I talk to my mom more about world events than I do my dad, because my dad does not care.
I think that's a little bit of the gossip bug, right? Like everyone, like the gossip bug. That's what all this is. The news, mainstream media is just paid gossip with pharmaceutical advertisement, right? I'd gossip more too in real life if I got pharmaceutical advertisement money.
Yeah,
that's what I was watching the one of Tim Dillon's rants, and it was like, I'll say whatever you want to, but that check better be big. I was like, hey, at least he's honest.
At least he's honest, man. Like,
you'll know. He's like, you'll know. I'll be saying stuff you never think I'd ever say, but you just know I got paid. but yeah. So let's get started. Jimmy's back. It looks like he's doing okay, so we'll ride that wave. But first one is the LA riots, man. LA riots have been done before. I forget the year it happened, but I was reading up. It happened before. They're also counting riots in other cities. Some examples I got that were listed in the news were LA, San Fran, Austin, Dallas, El Paso, Chicago, New York, and Atlanta. I'm sure there were other minor ones or some one-off people, but as far as swaths of people that turned a little bit crazy, even borderline teetered on mostly peaceful, because I know that gets pretty wild on mostly peaceful side. It was mostly in response to the deportations and illegal immigration raids that the Trump administration has been enforcing. Obviously, the California government, or at least Gavin Newsom, tries to show that he is in disagreement with the Trump administration's actions. You had ICE. ICE was sent over there. The National Guard was activated, and then he also sent Marines as support for the National Guard because they were feeling threatened, along with other federal agents. And then California also recently sued Trump and his Defense Department. I don't know on what grounds. I couldn't find the language, but just for the fact of sending Marines. So I wanted to spit out a couple facts at you, make it look like I actually researched it. But just kind of want to get your guys' opinions on the LA riots firsthand, just observational.
The only thing I think it's funny, it seems like it's always in LA, no matter what it is, which I think is fascinating. Protesting, go ahead, just don't throw rocks at cops from a bridge. Like, those people should be shot in the face. Simple as that. Like,
lethal or non-lethal?
Oh, lethal. I hate the fact they're using paintball. Like these people, protest all you want to, just don't block any interstates. Like, you're not solving a problem. You're not helping change legislation. Like, You're literally just in the streets. Don't you have a job? Like, how are these people making money? You know?
That's why I can respect and we'll talk about it next, but the No Kings not riots, but the No Kings protest. I can respect those because they're done on Saturday. You get the permits for them. You do it the First Amendment way, right? Even though permits are a whole nother episode we can go down.
Yeah.
But like it's known. Everyone's holding their signs. They're hooping and hollering. I can respect that.
Yeah.
But the midweek stuff at night and just I had a list of stores that were claimed to be rooted or recorded to be rooted. Apple Store, T-Mobile, Adidas, Foot Locker, Jordan, Studio 23, Nike, Shoe Palace, CVS, jewelry stores, Verizon. All things that are deporting illegal immigrants. I don't know. I mean, all places that fund the police. It's just crazy to me that, again, if there's a problem, I'll solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it. That was Vanilla Ice, in case you're wondering what that was. But if there was a problem, go to the source. Like, I respect things that go to the source. If you were on the front lawn and you wanted to try to mess up some stuff and blow up some things on the front lawn of the White House or Congress, then be my guest. Do it. Like, go to the cap. Like the No King riots happened at mostly the civic centers of those cities. I got everywhere I looked. I was scouring on Snapchat. I was going around to see all the Snapchat posts all around, just curious. I do that anyways, just to check around the world. Like, I was over in Iran trying to just look at Iranian Snapchat. It's like what is it like over there? What's going on?
That's true.
Those big Chinese cities are crazy.
Yeah, I never even thought about doing that. That's actually.
I mean, I like to think that they're real life videos and they're not just bots posting videos, but a lot of the low grain, low resolution make me think that they're real videos. So.
Yeah, that might be a way to do some research on the markets too. I didn't even think about that. I like that.
There you go, Camp. So, but yeah, Jimmy, what are your thoughts before you pass out again?
First things first, I'm gonna dogfight tonight, trying to stay on this podcast. I'm working harder than.
I had the same thought the other day, and I thought it was like a Hollywood set. Like, part of me thinks, because there are a lot of people now saying that's not how it is. Like, there are a lot of people saying, wait, it's a small part of LA. It's not. I'm in LA. We're good, but maybe it's just all smoke and mirrors, man. That's kind of the point of this podcast, just the smoke and mirrors of it. There's so much going on. Every time I feel anxious, because it gets me. I'm a human. It gets me, and I go, why am I feeling anxious? Nothing's happened to me. I'm fine. My day's the same. But then I start going, man, they want us to feel that way, and it's so easy to control a horde of people. Whether you're right or not.
I find myself
whoever it is. So
checking my phone every.
But yeah, it is a shame.
There's new updates and.
Yeah, and I'm just nowadays I'm really scrolling for the next like enlightenment of something or something in society or the next news break. I'm not even a news guy. I just sit on my recliner and talk about stuff. But trying to break my way in, Camp, with this episode. Brought in the big guns, Brady Bogart.
I saw him for 10 seconds and got like 3 seconds to me, and I said, all right.
Yeah, fair enough. The other thing was, I didn't see too many reports. Actually, no, the reports were about the riots being funded, right? We heard about that back in 2020 when the COVID riots were going, like people were putting pallets of bricks or whatever, and a lot of these signs look the same to me. I think someone mass manufactured a lot of these signs. But I pulled up 2 of the web pages of the organizations that were said to do it. Let's take a look at these guys and see what we can find.
I mean, it's got to be. So I don't know if you guys ever seen Billions. It's a show on I think it was on Prime. Just hedge fund guy, billionaire. But watching that show, I kind of see it through the lens of trying to manipulate markets, right? If this hedge fund knows, okay, let's say there is some protest going on in LA, like, and they got permits, right? And that's not gonna move a market. But you have people start rioting, like for whatever reason, like that's gonna move a market. So and being like these evil hedge fund guys on the show, I could see them like buying pallets of bricks, placing them near like where the people are going to be rioting, and then shorting the market. And not, I mean, that's a, I guess, a pessimistic view of the world, but like that would 100% make sense to me.
And it always goes back to the money, man, right? It always go back money and power. That's where and it's easy to say that there's nothing we can do about it. It's one of those never-ending. It's almost like how atheists think people do with religion. It's like money and people and power, and it's just what we believe. But yeah, I mean, there's so much money on the line all the time. I mean, I was just reading up about the governmental coup that almost took place back when was it Teddy was president, or no, FDR was president. All those big conglomerate, the J.P. Morgan and all that, they tried to hire the general.
I think you sent me a video about that.
Yeah,
it was like some general, right? They
like highly decorated, highly respected, very like well like general, because he was a good person, and he was one of the best persons because he basically led him on long enough and then ratted him out. Like once he but nothing happened. No one got in trouble. They didn't even kill him, which was crazy. But he ratted out a coup that never happened and saved democracy, or saved our setup that we have now, which is a fantastic story of American perseverance.
Yeah.
But you guys can see the screen. So Indivisible was one of the organizations that raises a lot of money to push through. Let's find out who we are. Grassroots movement of thousands of local indivisible groups with a mission to elect progressive leaders and rebuild our democracy and defeat the Trump agenda. So let's pick this apart, Camp, because I hate how this is worded. We are grassroots movements of thousands of local indivisible groups. So indivisible is a movement of thousands of indivisible groups. That's like saying a woman is a woman. That's called a circular definition. But their mission is they're a very progressive leader. So they help raise money. And the people that probably are in charge of this organization get paychecks for helping create mass protests and what we're seeing as riots that led to riots. And they get paid for that.
Sounds like a good gig.
Let's find out who's in charge.
There's been, like they're saying, like defeat Trump's agenda. You remember the Project 2025 thing that was going around? So not with that, but there is it's called Project 2030, and it's supposed to be like globalization.
Yeah.
And maybe we were talking about that.
Yeah, I brought that up because I think they were flooding the internet and all the news streams with Project 2025, because when we type in project on Google, Project 2030 does not come up. It's going to be Project 2025.
Yeah.
That was always my little personal theory.
Yeah, fascinating.
They couldn't even pick one leader.
The dude looks like he has a soft chin.
I wasn't going to make fun of anyone, but you can't have two. You can't have two captains of the ship, man. You got to pick one. Who's really in charge? That's it. Let's see what she's up to. She served as policy director for Tom Perriello, governor of Virginia. Virginia is for lovers.
Oh man, you know what?
She managed human trafficking grants. Like, what does that mean? Like anti-human trafficking grants or pro-human trafficking grants? Just saying, the wording needs to be looked at.
Words mean things.
The human trafficking grants. So, like, I could apply for a grant of human trafficking?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
This lady reminds me, and I was going to put it in our group chat, but I was sitting at a coffee stop, Cooper Line Coffee. I was doing an assignment the other day. It had to be Friday. And it's kind of a sidebar, but these people were, I guess it was a support group. And they were like these grown people talking about their inability to like sit still at work. And I was like, you're 40 years old. Like, and these people just remind me of that. Like,
what do you mean by these people?
that soft-chinned individual, and
This guy,
that
it says right here, he's a black belt, and I'm just kidding.
yeah, and that semi-attractive woman.
Oh, you out there? Does she have an email?
I'm gonna go with. I say woman hesitantly because I don't know, but
Yeah, you need
never
to
know.
definitely ask her before you start saying things like
exactly. That was just a horrible side note, but I thought about you guys as soon as I was like listening. I was like, this is just comedy gold. Like, yeah.
They have a commitment to nonviolence. I mean, yeah. I mean, I hope they do. I'm not going to say they don't, but
yeah. Yeah.
okay.
We're in this together unless you don't share our views, and then we want to kill you. Like what?
That's the problem right there, man.
Yeah.
That word. All right. That word. And I catch myself doing it too because me and my better half were talking about it, and it was like the world has been set up, and we were all very competitive guys when we played sports, but the world is set up to like win or lose, like that dichotomy. And I get that, like there's winners, there's losers, there's have-nots. It's end of time. That's all the never-ending battle. But the win word when we're talking about the global, or not global, but the nation collective and like humans. Like, okay, the other side wins at all costs. That's great. Congrats, you won. Now what? Like, that's all that, I mean, and when you really boil down the higher up politics that you get, it's like, okay, now what? At least with the local politics, like those people still live in the community. They're still invested. You know, they have that integrity, right? They're going around town. If it's a smaller town, they have that local integrity that they have to follow up with. So even if they do win at all costs, they still have somewhat to answer to. But when these people at the state and they don't read their emails and they're getting their emails sifted through by their team, then they're getting what they need. It's just the win or lose mentality is tough to me. So I think the biggest thing is that R word, responsibility. You take more responsibility in your freedom. I forget who, some guy keeps saying he was just, like you have to be in control of your freedom, right? But like we mentioned before, the ongoing theme is I give up more of my safety. I give up more of my responsibility. I give up more of my inconvenience in life at the cost of my freedom. I mean, that's the selling point. If you're not doing it with fear, you're doing it with freebies. Hey, this will make your life way easier. And I'm fine with making your life easier, but at the sake of what? At the sake of I have to show my City of DeLand passport to go to the city of Daytona Beach? No thanks. Unfortunately, that's where it's going to get to. So,
have you seen the? It's been around a little bit now. It's the it was like a mice experiment.
For which one?
So it was a scientist did an experiment. He created like a rat utopia, like 1,000 rats. He gave them all the food they needed, and basically they just reproduce and eat and stuff like that. And like over time, they became the same. Or they were exhibiting like some of the same habits you see now with like overpopulated cities. Like they were like eating each other. There was like they stopped reproducing and stuff like that. And obviously, rats are different from people, but I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah, the rat utopia is what we're calling it, but it's called behavioral sync by John B. Calhoun. I remember the Calhoun name. But yeah, they exhibit the same behavior. Like everything was given to them. They don't have to work. So they had the ability to follow other desires. Right. The idle mind is the devil's playground.
Yeah.
So if you don't have to plow fields anymore, or like look over your shoulder or run away from lions, then you can start like being gay. I guess is kind of what the I remember what stood out to me was, I mean, that's going to be bad. We're going to have to clip that. That's going to be a clip, but it's going to be like you can just kind of do whatever you want, and by all means, like that's their argument. Camp is we should be able to do whatever we want and not have to worry about any of the bad stuff because the government's going to take care of all the bad stuff. Like that is the mindset. That is the selling point. And people are like, that sounds great. Sign me up. And yeah, if I'm not a free thinker and I just say, sure, that sounds great. Yeah, blindly accept and just totally put my faith in and then be totally surprised and caught off guard when something bad happens to me. Sure. But that makes it even worse. Like when you get surprised and you get caught off guard or the government disrespects you or whoever is controlling the government you don't like a guy named Trump, and he kind of says something you don't agree with or you just don't like him, then, well, yeah, he's ruining your whole life because you can't have your whole life because you've given up all your responsibility to control your life. All your free will is gone.
Yep.
So they probably do feel hopeless when you go, when these guys, the man on the street people, go out and interview these people. They probably do feel that frantic because they do not have control, or they feel like they don't have control when they actually do. They still do. So that's the beautiful part about living in this country. You still have the control, but we just can't. It's a tug of war, man. It's a tug of war up and down. And we have enough people down here to weigh down the tug of war on the bottom side. But the more people that let go of that rope, the easier it is going to be to tug the rest of us up. I'm nervous. So this is the other one. It's funding. I don't have the numbers on how much they funded, but this one's looking good to start off. Pride is a protest. Pride is also a 7 deadly sin. So we'll just put that one out there. Let's find out who we are. Get involved. No thanks. Move on.
One of my favorite quotes is and I don't know who said it, but it was like the greatest magic trick the devil ever did was convincing people he didn't exist.
Jesus.
So, yeah. What? No.
Who?
The devil, the greatest magic trick. Yeah. The greatest magic trick he ever did was convincing people he didn't exist.
Yeah. It's yeah. I mean, it's a very good now you see me, now you don't situation.
Yeah. Just hiding in plain sight.
I just find it a lot of the stuff, like, it's, as a human, when people say, whatever we're doing, we're just trying to be inclusive and we're trying to, progressive. And I'm an engineer. I'm all about making things more efficient, right? When I hear progressive and inclusive, I think, how can we make more things better? Systems. I 100% agree with that excerpt phrase. And yeah, equality, sustainability, justice, and love. All those sound great. That's like something I would learn from my parents, though. I didn't learn it from my lawmakers, Like my parents taught me equality, sustainability, justice, and love. And I don't have to go protest on the weekends because I know that. I know that if I just live my life that way and everyone does their part and lives their life that way, the world will be fine. So a lot of this stuff is, you see a lot of the crazy conservative, I told you so guys, on Twitter, like, okay, so what did the No Kings thing actually accomplish yesterday? Like, what did they actually do? Like, what's changed? And a lot of that, like, when I'm not trying to discredit these people's times that they give up on their Saturdays, but like a lot of us agree with you, man. Like, I saw a quote from Matthew McConaughey the other day. I don't know, and I got to find out when it was from, but he was basically saying, he's like, the numbers don't lie. Like, there's an extreme left, there's an extreme right. The vast majority of Americans agree. The world really agree on the most fundamental things. I'm not even talking about policy. I'm talking about like quality of life stuff. Because remember, if we can detach from the thought that we need the government for our quality of life in every aspect of that quality of life, if we can detach from that, most of us will be like, okay, we all do our parts, we go. The government should be battling for us because the United States is a big corporation. They should be battling against other big corporations that outgun us, whether it's other countries or other actual corporations for monopolizing. So that way we're not getting discriminated against and we're not getting stepped on. I mean, from a very fundamental standpoint, I don't know where that puts me in the category of politics because I'm not up on my chart, the axis chart of where that puts me up or who that aligns me with ideologically. But we don't need the government for everything. And I think as soon as people realize that and they just go, okay, let me look to my fellow citizen to grab up the rest. I think more oftentimes than not we'll agree with you. But when you start calling us the devil because we disagree with a policy that shouldn't even be a policy because it should just be the way of life, then it's crazy. What do you have to say about that rant?
No, it's perfect because it goes back to what you said of just the government kind of just having too much power, and people think they'd much rather outsource love to the government. Like, why are you outsourcing love to the government?
That's crazy.
I had this discussion with my mom, and women are more egalitarian, right? They like to be with one another. Dudes are kind of like, if I have one friend, I'll be all right.
Yeah.
And she had the view of kind of like, yeah, we need to take care of people, and I'm like, life's hard for everybody. And I do think, like, people with special needs, like, yes, we offer the quality of life thing you just said. There is a standard. There should be a standard for everybody having a quality of life assurance. Yes, I'm with you on that. But when you're outsourcing everything, you're left with nothing. Like,
yeah.
Love? You're gonna outsource love? Like, that's kind of crazy. You want to outsource love?
We outsourced all the long-term beneficial feelings. If you just, like, our feelings, that's things that we depend. Like, when I wake up in the morning, what can I control to make sure I have a good day?
Yeah.
All that stuff's gone. So we're all left with the dopamine chasing hits of, I need something, I need that little hit. Now we're addicts for all these things that these conveniences give us. And when we don't get those because times are tough or because something happens in life, then everything else is out of control, and like, you do not have control of that situation. And when I don't have control, I'm a control freak a little bit. When I don't have controls of situations, if I'm not driving on the highway and I'm doing the phantom brake, and I don't like that. If I'm going to mess up, I want to mess up, right? I'm a little control freak that way. But man, like, I just don't get it, man. But that's the point of the show, Camp, is pursuit of perspective. So I got to stop having you on that just reaffirms my perspective. I got to start bringing on someone else. But
yeah,
but we're the most diverse when it's just you and me, though. We're the most diverse.
Yeah. You're definitely meeting diversity quota.
People are gonna they're gonna talk about us, be like, he's white supremacist, Cody Bogart. First, even on every episode, yeah, perfect attendance. Yeah. They keep coming back. I don't pay him, guys. I know last time I said I paid him. I don't pay him. So this is for free.
Yeah, he's doing this for the giggles.
He might be doing it out of hate. I don't know that for sure.
No,
out of spite. You're gonna do it because you love me, or do it because in spite of me. Either way, I'm gonna get performance. Who said that? Whose quote is that?
I don't know.
That's 4-1, dude. 4-1 used to go, you're either going to do it because you love me, or you're going to do it inside of me. Either way, I'm going to get results. I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm going to step in that box, go, screw you, Randy. I'm going to hit a double.
Yeah.
And he gets a double. So you're right, man.
That's true. I was going to say, I think I lost it. Oh, I looked at one of the guys in my office. He's like us. He doesn't take life too serious. You can laugh about anything. And I guess that's labeled as racism, especially if it comes from a straight white male, which is hilarious. But I had to look up the definition of racism. Just,
You don't know?
I was like, what's up?
You don't know it?
Like okay, we know what racism is, but like, I looked at it on Webster and I was like, oh, I'm racist. I 100% judge people about the color of skin. Like, why wouldn't you? Like,
that's like when I brought up you screaming out in front of the brewery that other night. That's what you were saying. You said something along those lines. You're like, yeah, I'm racist. I'm like, dude, they might think that's me. We can't be yelling that. Yeah. I don't need that stigma.
Yeah, I know. And it's sad because mostly all my friends are straight white males, and y'all are just getting attacked left and right, and it's
we're not that bad, man. We're not that bad.
You're not, and I just think it's, and if I have to be the one, because I can say it, so I'll be their Huckleberry. All right, like it's
yeah,
it is a fascinating point in time. You know what I kind of do want to bring up, and I've been thinking about giving this a lot of thought along the same lines.
Bring it on.
The black community. I've been black my whole life. Crazy enough. Yeah. Shocker.
Just in. Breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news. But I was thinking, I was like, man, like why does it seem like it's always falling apart? And you have like all these athletes and rappers, entertainers specifically. So I think there's a perceived notion that the black culture is like awesome, but it's not. And the more I got into endurance sports, I found like not many black people do it. Like there's in any event I go to, there's usually like one or two black people. And stuff I would classify, or most people would classify as cool, is like extreme sports. I think, like I would think extreme sports.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, there's not many. It's not an African American presence at all. It was really relevant for when I went to I did or attempted an ultra marathon. There was no other black people, and I was like, man, like they're not out pushing themselves. There's a lack of self. I don't know really what self drive. Right? They want to be, they go to work and whatever, but like outside of work, they don't seem to have any hobbies. And like even my parents, like they're kind of lame. They don't do anything. And like it was just fascinating to think about. And I'm like, man, like why aren't they out doing marathons? I mean, you have like Kenyans that run marathons, but like just like the American black community, like it just seems like they have a lack of something, a lack of want to.
Yeah, I mean, my question to you on that would be just to play devil's advocate, because that's apparently one of the strengths that I have sometimes, is I can try to play devil's advocate. Do you think it's it's going to sound bad, but like a monetary thing, things that like people that I stop doing things, I do it. So like I'll go, I don't want to spend money. I don't want to go do something. I don't want to spend that, you don't think it's that?
I know it's not a monetary thing because people like either like my sister or my cousins, like they spend money on other stuff. It's just like material stuff that, like, okay, let's say the bike I bought was $1,000, right?
Yeah.
At some point during the year, I'm sure my sister's going to spend $1,000 on something stupid. But like, at least at the end of the year, I have like something that is going to help me progress as a human. I think materialism is a big hindrance on the black community. And a lot of stuff is marketed because they'll just buy. That's like who you want to sell to if you're a big corporation, like, Nike or Reebok or, any of that. Like that's your demographic. Like that's how business is run. Sorry. People don't like it, but that's what it is.
Well, like, I mean, you mentioned it was like create the culture, find the cool culture. Yeah. Then it becomes mainstream, right? And that's where.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. It's just something I've been thinking about lately. I'm just like, even I try to get my mom to like start walking, or like, I don't know, man. It's just something. They don't like being outside. It's always hot. That's part of the reason.
Yeah. Someone
Florida.
It's one of those, the one video where these two British guys introduce themselves on the podcast and Theo Von's on it. He's like, you guys, what we call like autism. Like, have you ever seen that thing?
No, what?
I forget. No. It was one of the Theo's like clips I always see, but him being Theo. I forget. It was one of those two guys, and he's kind of a political commentator first before he's a comedian, I think. I don't know. I forget his name. But he was mentioning something about like victimhood. and that someone did, they did an experiment, or like a social experiment, where they would give these women that signed up to be in the experiment, they would give them the scar.
The scar, yeah.
But then they would make them look at the scar in the mirror before this job interview to see like discrimination in job interviews.
Yeah.
And then they said, "Oh, let me touch it up." They took it off.
Yeah.
And then they made them go on the job interview, and they all still reported that they didn't have any facial malfunctions, but they still reported that they felt victimized and that they perceived it that way. So, I mean, it's just a testament to victimhood. I know that the black community always gets victimized the most, or at least portrayed as that victimhood mentality. I know you've never. I mean, I've been friends with you for a long time. You've never been like that, but on a large scale in the cities that are super progressive, they preach that, and maybe that's what it is. If you're victimized and you think everything's going to be perceived negative, then you start getting to that point of, well, what's the point? Why would I go do anything, right? What do I deserve? I don't deserve that. I don't deserve to go have fun with a hobby or something. Or so maybe it has something to do with that kind of psychology of it, because
you're right. Victim, I can see that, the victimhood mentality. Yeah,
but I don't think. I mean, I wouldn't think your parents are like that, but I don't know them too well.
No, they're not like that. My mom's just, she's older. She grew up in LA, so I think, again, LA is just crazy. I just don't understand why.
Have you talked to her this week at all? She mentioned anything?
Oh, she just texted me right now.
Give her the link. Get her in.
I talked to her once. It was like, I think right after the election, and I was like, I think we talked about this, like just the predominantly, like the U.S. is predominantly red. You just have these small subsections that are heavily blue. It's the big cities. It's like, well, okay, if every time I see something bad happening and it's in a big city and the big cities are blue, that tells me something. Like something's going on.
But that's my biggest argument for states' rights, is that you have these big enclaves of people to where you have more people in the centralized location. The services and the policy do have to be different. Like from an execution standpoint, you're executing big cities differently than you're executing small cities where we came from. Like you just are. And I get that. I respect that. And I think the best way to make that efficient and fair is that if you choose to go live in a big city, those big cities already have deep pockets. They have like city of Daytona Beach dwarfs the surrounding cities in this county because of the amount of just tax capital they have. So they're able, and they're the bigger city in this area. So they have to be able to do all this stuff. They have the airport, they have all this stuff. And you have to give them their due. And I don't, the more land they own and are in control of, the more power they have over the actual county. Right? The county can only do so much when it comes to enforcing any type of policy regarding anything. Yeah. So I think giving those localized places more power, LA should only be talking to the federal government when they actually need them. Like when their city's on fire and they need the National Guard. Yeah. But on a day-to-day basis, if California loves bragging about having the fourth largest global GDP, then they should be using that wisely, and they should be using it to themselves. Me in Florida, or me in anywhere else, shouldn't be looking to California to foot the bill for anything that I have. I should be living a different lifestyle because I'm in a different place, and we have different principles and policies that we need to run. The fact that people don't see that diversity that's needed across the United States is crazy. Like, we're diverse. We have different mindsets.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in the big city, yeah, that's fine. Which is why the federal government should have less power, because it affects more people. So if they affect more people and have that more power, they affect a wider range of diversity. It's just that mindset of giving them more power, letting one person be in control. Well, of course, you're going to have good years and you're going to have bad years, because it's top heavy. You lost your balance.
Yeah.
So it's like when one of the reporters asked Trump about the No Kings protest, he's like, "I'm not a king. I can't just wave my hand and get things passed, because I have way too much pushback to be a king." And people can take that as, oh, he wants to be a king, he wants the pushback to go away, but those are the checks and balances working. So it's very frustrating.
Yeah, I love how every time they'll ask him about whatever, he'd be like, "No, I don't like," or the third term thing. They asked him like point blank. He's like, "No, I have no desire to run, and I can't do it legally anyway."
Yeah,
and they're like, "Nah, he wants to do it." Like he just said. It's like he's lying. Like what? Just
yeah. You sent me that Instagram of what's the press secretary's name again?
I don't even know.
Levitt. It's Caroline Levitt, I think.
Yeah.
You sent me that, and it was like the other day. Rachel was naming off all these woman crushes she has on the badasses in government. I think one was like Kristi Noem and Caroline Levitt. It was Tulsi Gabbard. It was all those women that just take care of business.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously aligned with her politically, but yeah, it's a fun time when you have strong women in power and you got
and they were like
strong men around them.
They kept saying Trump's scared of strong women. It's like, oh, he has what? Like
you met his wife and daughter. Yeah.
It's like, what are you talking about?
He's
like he has a bunch of just because they're not freaking hair colored and morbidly obese, like doesn't mean he's scared of women. Like, sorry, I probably surround myself with all attractive women too if I was president. Let that be said.
Yeah, you want those pictures to look good for sure. Yeah. But hey, what can you do?
We were talking about LA riots, but side note, the first stablecoin bill might be passed next week, so keep an eye out for that.
What United States stablecoin?
Yeah.
Who do you think that'll be? Their own doing?
So I'm pretty sure it already passed the House and it's in the Senate right now. The crazy thing, I'm learning more about legislation through crypto than I ever did in school. Like cloture. Cloture is what was the definition? It was like cloture is like the inability to stop a bill from proceeding, I guess, something like along those lines. And I had to like learn that because the stablecoin bill made it through cloture or something. And I was like, oh, I gotta like, what is this? Like what so like they can't like stop the bill from proceeding if cloture is obtained. But I'm like, stuff like that I never learned in school. Like I only learned about that because it's crypto.
Yeah, that's cool. When you're motivated about something, it'll help you learn something else, hopefully.
Yeah.
That's where I've been working my way through the federal system of it, but being able to follow like counties and their in the land development world and seeing how their processes are, it's tough. When it starts getting about budgets and things like that, it gets real noisy. There's a lot going on, which is what led me the other day to, like you're saying, you're talking about like the people outsourcing. I think now that the government, they're starting to outsource too because they just can't handle it. And like when you go look at jobs that are offered, like if I wanted to go be a federal or state employee, the discrepancies of salaries are getting pretty big again because they were kind of close for a while there. Just like in a when you kind of compare private, engineers of the same jobs that you have in the private workforce that you do in the public, but now they're contracting out to almost everyone. And now it got me thinking when I saw Palantir and all the defense contractors, like they just contracted out, and then you get these overinflated, bloated fees and contracts to these companies to make the money and make the money for their shareholders. And then the taxpayer has to pay it. And dude, I was driving one day and I got real mad because I was like, I had like an epiphany of the word taxpayer. I was like, wait, taxpayer? That just means like me, citizen. Like it's not like they use taxpayer so that way, like when I hear taxpayer, I'm like, okay, the taxpayer's money, yeah, it's taxes. So I go, wait a minute, that's all the money they took from us. Yeah, like it's actual like people's money.
It's working Americans.
It's a stupid epiphany to have, but I had it on such a personal level that I was like, I am so mad right now that they're talking about, oh, this much taxpayers' money. And it's like, no, that's like the people's, like that is the money, like because they labeled it. It's like the government euphemism, like it's money. It's not taxpayers' money. It's not its own little subcategory. It's you took the money of the value of my work, and then you're using it on whatever you want.
Yep.
I don't think I think I was listening to a podcast. Surprise. I think it was J.D. Vance. He returned to maybe Theo Von's or someone's, but it was recently, and he didn't say taxpayers. Those are the American people's money. I go, he's freaking right. Like, that's not the taxpayer. Like, it's just another word to say. It's like saying, whatever you want to make the definition different and obscure it. So you don't get an emotional response from taxpayer. You get an emotional response from my money.
Yeah.
So and taxpayer makes it sound voluntary too, doesn't it? Like the taxpayer.
Yeah, it kind of does, honestly.
Like, the donator, the guy that donated.
Yeah.
Stupid. So yeah, let's slip right into Saturday, which, to be honest with you, I was pretty anxious. I thought something was going to happen. Every time they would have some nice shot of the parade that was going on, I was like, man, I can just see something bad happen right now. And then also, like, with everything going on, there's a lot going on. It started the morning with the Minnesota congresswoman getting shot and killed. Her and her husband, I believe.
Heard about that.
Someone else got shot and injured. Another, I think she was representative, another senator, one or the other. But with all due respect to their family, sorry, I don't know their names. But started off with that. They ended up, this guy like impersonated a cop in uniform and had a mask on, and then got away. Had a damn near copycat cop car, and then had a whole bunch of No Kings flyers in the car. Supposedly, is something new that they're coming out. So you could say was politically aligned. The sketchiness of it, this came out later in the day, so I wasn't super dialed in at the beginning of the day. I was able to enjoy it a little bit. It came out that these two Minnesota Congress people they're Democrats. They were going to oppose the Democrat mainstream side and vote against having free healthcare for illegal immigrants. So that's kind of sketchy.
I know the healthcare thing, but I heard they were like siding against something
for free healthcare for illegal immigrants, and then they got shot the next day.
Yeah.
Her last interview, the representative or senator, was like in tears and choked up. I think she was having a hard time going against her party, having the spotlight. Maybe that's tough to do. Standing up for yourself is tough to do. So I can understand the emotional toll that would take, but it's hard not to take it as like maybe she knew something might happen or just scared. I mean, just nervousness. So start off with that in the morning, and then it turned into me looking around on Snapchat, Facebook feeds, seeing videos because I wasn't going to go drive around. There's one going down the road in Norman, but just kind of getting a vibe for how many people actually showed up. A lot of people showed up for these No King rallies, No King protests.
And I was riding my bike yesterday, and I guess there was one in like Daytona near the water, near the river, because I was like riding and I saw some people with signs, but I think I was like 12 miles in. I was tired. I wasn't paying attention, but I guess maybe that's what it was.
100% that's what it was. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it was over. I had notes. Hold on. I had notes. Had over 2,000 cities nationwide and more. There were millions accounted for. Some say 200,000 people in New York, and over 100,000 people in Philadelphia. It started off as a scheduled No Kings in response to Trump's army parade on his birthday, and just overall dislike of Trump. Because with all these protests, it's always just everything kitchen sink. It's never one. That's the thing about protests. It should be like pretty focused to get your point across, because that's what everyone's saying is like, okay, so you guys still hate Trump. Thanks for reminding us.
Yeah, give me something new, man.
That's a very valid stance to take. I don't like him. Okay, cool. So what do you want to do about it?
Yeah,
vote better in the next election.
Yeah.
Actually have a primary. Like actually run a democracy in your own party to elect your presidential candidate, rather than call someone a king and then have they made their own protest. They said, oh, he's a king. He acts like a king, and we're going to go protest it. He hasn't. I mean, yeah, sending the Marines is a little bit on the authoritative side, but it's been done before, and it was for a good reason. And from what I've seen, I haven't seen any reports of any malfeasance done on a large scale.
Was it National Guard Marines?
No, it was the National Guard, and then they were getting the National Guard was getting a little bit overwhelmed. And I think that's when he sent in some Marines. That's what that's what a lot of people start freaking out when he sent the Marines over. So, but he has jurisdiction to do that, especially when the when federal entities, whether they're officers or federal buildings or federal property, is being threatened. That's the precedent set for sending in the actual troops. I might be mistalking a little bit on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the general idea of being able to do that. So it was like sending in, obviously LAPD was doing their thing, and then you send in the National Guard. They were getting overwhelmed and at certain places, and then the Marines were sent in to help the National Guard. They weren't sent as the primary force from what I was reading up as, but they were sent as a backup. Not a bad backup, having the Marines around.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, pretty crazy stuff. You don't like seeing that, but again, I was listening to the parade. And that was another thing. The parade was good. It was fine. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say hoorah hoorah. Although they did a really good job of explaining the history of it. So they had like every time a squadron would pass or whatever they're called camp when they're marching, it was the history of the army. Like they had the uniforms on, they had the machines, the vehicles driving by with it from that era, from that war, and they kept going. They had some new stuff. They had like the robots and the drones later on. So it was real cool. Like, and they had a narrator, or like PA guy there narrating it, talking about it. You got that sense of propaganda. I was like, smells like propaganda, sure. But Trump stood up, saluted. Pete Hegseth was having a good time. It lasted a little bit longer than it probably should have, but they had a hell of a fireworks display at the end. I was wondering if the fireworks were purchased in China or not. But overall, it was cool. They had real good Army choir there and Army performers. I thought it was overall good. Kids in the audience were having fun, looking at the big tanks and stuff. It definitely wasn't your dictator, everyone marched perfectly, it has to be perfectly, and we're all serious. It was people smiling, having a good time.
Yeah, it
felt more natural than what we see on TV overseas and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And yes, point one, if you watch the marching, the dudes that were specifically in Ranger Battalion and Special Forces, their marching was horrendous.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because I thought someone was, or the other side's trying to claim that it was like in a disrespect action, or it was disrespectful to Trump.
Yeah, it's because none of those dudes ever march. Like they don't do formations. Like especially those dudes.
The best marchers were the marching band at the end. Like those were the best
because
people
they practice it. Like they do that drill and ceremony stuff.
I'm glad you're saying that because Rachel was asking me, and I was like, we don't practice marching anymore. That's not like a thing we do.
Dude, like those dudes specifically, they probably haven't marched in at least 4 years, like bare minimum. Like because like it's just not something you do. But I saw one dude was like, this is the difference between war fighters and propaganda, because like you see other countries when they march, they look good, but like
super good.
Like none of those dudes. And granted, it probably, because we'll do like military or not parades, but like ceremonies and stuff. And like you have to usually, I'm assuming those dudes that went there probably knew about it a good amount of time before. And you always do rehearsals, like that's mandatory. But at least for those Rangers and SF dudes, like I'm sure the regular Army dudes went there earlier. They probably went there like a little bit closer to like go time. And I would assume like they were just like, all right, guys, we're just gonna walk down the street.
Yeah.
Other side of that, like when a normal unit like mine would do it, like you're out there, like you're practicing all day, like, and I assume for something like that, they were practicing probably all week. Because even when I went to the D-Day Normandy, it's supposed to be a jump. I didn't get to jump because of bad weather, but the ceremony they have every year in Normandy, and we were marching all day, like through the little towns and it's a dog and pony show. We know what it is. Like it is what
And
it is.
I think the people that were participating, the servicemen and women that were participating, knew that.
Yeah,
but they were also. I mean, it seemed lighthearted. Like it seemed like a football team walking out of a tunnel, right? Like they're all walking. They're in a formation, but they're just they're walking with a purpose. But they're they're doing their thing as a team. But it was one of the complaints I saw right before we started here was, they were all in protest. They were walking out of formation. It's like most of them were saluting, and if you didn't get them on camera saluting, they saluted before or after. At some point, they acknowledged Commander in Chief. I'm sure they're told to acknowledge him.
Oh yeah. Well, so it only one so it depends on the formation. So if they are in a formation and somebody's calling your steps, your cadence, it pretty sure it's only like the front right person or like the front rank or the person who's in charge of the formation. I don't know exactly because again, I don't do it, but only one, not the whole group salutes. Gotcha. So that's probably what they saw too and just didn't know. But not the whole group salutes when you're walking in formation like that.
Yeah. The fact that they were looking for anything to ruin it.
Oh yeah.
They even sang the choir. Someone sang him "Happy Birthday" at the end of it. You heard it on the camera. They interrupted the ceremony. They started singing "Happy" the crowd. Maybe it's kind of cool. But for 79 years of Trump's life, his birthday has been on the Army birthday.
On the Army's birthday.
It's not a secret. It was a happy coincidence, but not a secret.
But the crazy thing is, they make it seem like he wasn't president for 4 years already.
He's such a bad guy that of what he did for 4 years. Actually, like I said, we can sit here, and I'm not as versed in policy making and global effect, and I can't just rattle off a bunch of numbers. I'm more of a big picture, conceptually, how his life changed on a human aspect now.
You're like the CIA.
Let's not say that, but
so all right. So I said that because I've been thinking about this more and more lately about the CIA's primary mission. It is not on a human level. It is a big picture, right? They are okay with dictatorships in other countries they don't care about drugs in America. The CIA is fine with individuals' rights, which is crazy to think about, but they are okay with individuals doing whatever they want. The primary mission is to stop external forces from doing stuff to the U.S. citizens.
Yeah.
That it's but I just came to that realization. I was like, dang, the CIA is just so big picture.
Yes, I agree with that. I also agree with you're saying individual rights. Those individual rights are nudged. They know that they can herd the American people at any given moment. Right? Yeah. You get the Project Mockingjays of the world and things like that. That they know that the American people aren't our problem, but we do want to protect them and protect their individual liberties and what we stand for, so that way we can still exist as a intelligent agency. Yeah. It's still self-interest. It all boils down to self-interest or money. But in their case, it's power. I guess they do have a lot of money, but it's still power. But thinking about the CIA makes my head hurt more than anything. I think
the more Tyler Sheridan makes TV shows.
Taylor Sheridan,
or Taylor Sheridan, and he's been doing a very good job. And just the one behind the scenes, because they have they have Pentagon budget for films and stuff. But Israel.
That was next up on the list. I guess we can move on to the overseas conflicts. I'm tired of this over here, man. I still haven't done my deep dive on watching old documentaries of different biases of. I think that's the best way I want to watch it is the old History Channel type documentaries of things like that. I love the History Channel, but looking back on it going, that makes sense. It was the Pentagon budget, like you just talked about. Except for Ancient Aliens. What's up with that? But
same thing with Antarctica.
That's true. The ice wall. Yeah, overseas stuff. So, who shot first recently? Recent past?
Dude, I'm sure if
it was Israel. Israel most recently. I'm not going to sit here and go back. Beginning of time. Justification. For our conversation's sake, Israel shot rockets at Iran's capital, or Iran. I don't think that's the right way. Iran.
Yeah.
Iran's capital. Tehran? I'm going to go Tehran.
Tehran.
There we go.
Tehran.
Supposedly killing high-ranking official generals and scientists. Civilian scientists, you could call them. I'm not here to say whether it's right or wrong, because that's what everyone else seems to be doing. I'm on the big picture side of what happens now. Now they've just been changing blows. It looks like Iran shot down the defense system, supposedly, of... you still see me? I'm back. We'll cut it. Power down.
Yeah. I guess Jimmy just gave up, which is hilarious, too.
We're coming back.
Yeah. All right. Now I'm all alone.
Absolute psychopath stuff right there. All right. We're going through the exchanging blows. So since the firing on the capital by Jerusalem, or by, not Jerusalem, but by Israel, they've been exchanging blows in mostly non-civilian areas. It seems like I haven't seen too much outrage on either side killing civilians, but they're definitely trading blows at capitals and at military type bases. Apparently, the Iron Dome or other form of defense systems in Israel have been disabled or damaged. So that's kind of the most up to date I have on it. Obviously, it's a long-standing issue, surviving the oldest story in the book, you could say. I recently saw something that was quite a bit of a conspiracy theory, I guess you could say, or it was a military prediction. I don't know by who. I saw it quickly, but basically saying the powers around the two, I think it was Russia to begin with. It was Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and what's the one up north by Russia, like north of Israel? I forget, but like 4-5 countries coming together to destroy Israel was what it said. And I was like, I don't know why they would have any interest in that, but the only interest I think they would have in it, and I'm sad to say, but would be like, if we destroy Israel, we destroy the problem, which is obviously where the anti-Semitism sticks from that region. So I don't know what the story was. I don't know why they would have any reason, but I did see that Putin just ordered all troops to evacuate from or withdraw from Iran. I guess he had troops in Iran for some reason. So I don't know what that's about. I guess we'll find out next week on the episode of the Middle East. Tune in next week for the next episode. To be continued.
Yeah.
I did find it pretty crazy that the U.S. government is saying that they had no prior knowledge to Israel shooting off missiles, because they had like diplomatic negotiations on Sunday. They're supposed to talk today with someone in Iran government. But then those got canceled because Trump said in a press conference that the people he was supposed to talk to are presumed to be dead.
Yeah, that'll usually cancel a meeting.
So I don't know. I don't really know where it goes. I just know that it's more chaos that's in the streams, in the newsfeed of America. I know we always hear about it, because they're marketed as our greatest ally.
Yeah.
Were there much talks about it while you were stationed over there at all, or anything in that region? I mean, I know you guys were on a different wavelength with COVID and everything, but
yeah, no, we never. Nothing we did was was ever focused on the Middle East. It was only our unit was more focused on Northern Africa, and then being a Russia deterrent, which was laughable. It's like we had like 1,000 people. We were like we would always make the joke and be like, we're a speed bump at best. If Russia like wanted to invade Europe, we'd be a speed bump. Like we'd be the first ones to die. But yeah, we mostly did Northern Africa. My current National Guard unit is actually slotted to go to Syria, not Syria. Maybe it was Syria. No, it wasn't Syria. What was it? Somalia. On a deployment starting in February, but I'm not going because I wouldn't go anywhere with those guys. But yeah, we'll see. I guess you understand human nature in like Israel and Iran, but you like wanted to kill each other, I guess. But like, what's the point, man? Like,
Yeah.
I don't really. No.
Well, that's where, everyone always asks, like, what's the point of war? And as of right now, it's all disconnected nations and their the elite's interests, right? It's never the citizens going, we need to kill these people until an attack is done. It's always a reaction when the citizens get on board, which can be exploited, as we know. But a lot of it comes from the elites wanting to do war. So that's where the trade-off is under one world order, which I'm surprised I was able to say on the first try. Would be now that the nations aren't fighting, now it would just be the elites oppressing the non-elites. Like that's where the power structure would go to in the war and the oppression. You see that in like the Hunger Games. We would have televised Hunger Games every year. And because I said that to someone, it came up and I was like, we should televise the wars so that way people understand the humanity and horror that actually happens, and it would be more outrage for sure. But then someone brought up, was like, well, yeah, Vietnam was the first televised war where we actually saw shots of stuff over there, and there's a lot of outrage about that one. a lot of protests happening because of that one.
Yeah, a lot of protests.
So it does make sense, and it did happen. But now, everything's over justified, and you have to make sure they have their justifications for doing what they have. But they haven't been that good in the past. I think if they were good enough, I would have enlisted out of high school, to be honest with you. I mean, if they were good enough to get me in my most susceptible, bought-in, blue-pilled state of mind, they would have got me to enlist, or at least go to West Point. So, but yeah, the justification hasn't been there for America to intervene in a war since 9/11 that I can remember. Everything going on here has been domestic, and I don't want to go to war that way either. I don't need no war here. But so that's why I don't the isolationist type of mindset as far as military goes. Maybe not economically. I get the need for world commerce, but the isolationist military would be to secure everything here and just make sure we're good. Make sure we're good. Speak softly, carry a big stick, and then hope no one pokes us.
The thing I think is interesting is our conflict with China, right? Mm-hmm. Our economies are so they're so tied together. One can't survive without the other at this point. Yeah. But like we're still having like threats and stuff like that, and it's really posturing, right? That's all it is. You got to show the other guy you got a big stick.
Yeah.
But like we can't we're just so dependent, and Trump's trying to bring stuff back to America, but like the labor costs, like you can't beat that. Like,
which is another crazy realization that people don't understand. We say that, but we don't actually know what it implies when we're over here begging for $20 an hour, and we're outsourcing the labor cost. It's just crazy. Yeah. Another crazy just perspective that if you actually think about it and you go, we do this world commerce because other countries literally pay less money to the employees to do this work that you don't want to do in America.
Yeah.
and then you're going to sit here and complain about things. Like, the entitlement of that is crazy.
Crazy.
There's certain things to complain about. Don't get me wrong. When they're pointed and they're justified and they're actually oppressive. But man, when you're just complaining and you're looking overseas, you're like, these people are making all the stuff in your hands that, you know, the pencils that you drew your posters with were made in China by someone making nowhere near $20 an hour, the equivalent of it over there. So
crazy.
It is so intertwined. And that's the reason why I don't think anyone's pressed the button yet. So, but it could be, that's what everyone's scared of with these guys out there in the Middle East, of whatever complex they got going on out there, whether it's religious, power, money, or land, or all the above. Someone's going to press the button.
Yeah. It's gonna be a sad day.
Indeed. So the point of talking about all this was not to give the news. It was to find out, is it smoke and mirrors, or at least, I mean, because I think it will be used as smoke and mirrors. I think any good politician or good government facility are going to love distractions, especially when they're gifted to you, right? If there's,
you don't have to create them.
Yeah. If there's not 100%, they take those. So are some of them created? Are some of them not created? Are they just taking advantage of them? Because you got the big beautiful bill that is trying to get passed. I think it got denied. Did you see anything about that?
No, I had heard, I heard the word "big beautiful bill," but I didn't even know like what it was about or anything. And
what's big, and I don't know if it's beautiful, but it's big. There's just so much stuff in it. The one that creeps me out the most is the states are not allowed to create regulations on AI for the next 10 years. Just like
they're not allowed to.
The federal government's the only one that's allowed to create regulations with artificial intelligence. So there's something recently about the Trump administration somehow appealing the policy of California to ban the sale of gas vehicles. Like, the state of California is trying to ban the sale of gas vehicles by a certain date, 2028 or something like that, 2030.
Yeah.
Personally, that's fine for me. They're the state. They could make that choice for their state constituents. I don't think the federal government should come in and put that back, because that's not a discriminatory thing. Would it suck? Yeah, it's a stupid policy. But if you voted for Gavin Newsom and that thing and you wanted them to happen, I don't think you're doing any constitutional right. Because there's already this. I mean, you could go full libertarian and say you can't prohibit me from buying anything or selling anything. But if that's what you voted for and that's what you want to do, by all means, be the guinea pig and do it. And we'll see what a bad example that is. And
it's a horrible choice.
No one else will do it. But the last thing I want to do is have someone, an administration or side of the aisle that I agree with mostly, set precedents of power grabs or power shoves that the other side is going to do, twice as much, and the other side is going to do 3 times. Yeah,
it's true.
So, I was talking about precedents today. Now, not all precedence is good. Like, just because someone did it before you, that's the whole thing we got taught as a kid. If someone jumped off the bridge, there's precedence for jumping off the bridge. We should all jump off the bridge. Like, that's what I feel like politics is sometimes when they talk about that. They go, "Oh, the precedence." Well, okay, was it good? Like, should it have been done? Not all perfect.
Yeah,
it's just crazy. So I think a little bit more, a little bit less political jargon and lingo, a little bit more actual self-thinking and original thought would do a lot of people a lot of good.
Yeah,
and that's what it is. So, I
agree with you.
You got anything on the smoke and mirrors? You got anything else that you think might be hiding in the background, happening when everyone's looking out west?
I mean, we all know it's the banks, it's the big money. It's all for. I saw there was a guy who works for the World Bank. He was on Sean Ryan's podcast, and he was talking about basically like them, like their business model is giving loans to countries, and when the countries can't pay it back, what do? You default on the loan, they get your land and your resources. Yeah. So
you do a power change, a leadership change.
Yeah, we're gonna insert this politician. Yeah. But I mean, that's all it really is. we know what it is. But then Tim Dillon, when he did maybe he was on Rogan. Tim Dillon, big guy. And he was like, I mean, what are you gonna do? Like, have people worrying about DARPA? Like, or like if you're just like constantly worrying about like your dad said, you can't like constantly be worrying about all this nonsense, because then your life is really miserable. Like if you're not able to,
especially
like,
if you're not doing anything about it. Like if I was going to go risk my life and run for politics and try to call this stuff out like everyone does, then I'm going to lose you're going to lose anyways. So or get killed or defamed.
Isn't that something? Yeah. We would benefit from more people like being able to be normal in government, but only the people that are attracted to power want power. So those are the people that go into government. But
they need to pass more laws restraining the stock lend. Dude, public companies should not be getting government contracts. What about that idea? Would that be a bad thing?
Public companies should not get government contracts.
Publicly traded companies.
I don't agree with that, because private companies have so much more leeway of what they can hide. Public companies at least have to disclose certain things.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I'm with you on the thought of like, how do we?
So no companies are allowed to get government contracts.
Yeah.
Ban government contracts.
But even stuff like private and public companies, right? You can't invest in a private company unless you make like $250,000 a year. Like that's crazy, right? Like some of these laws are just so outdated. If I want to risk they don't put any restrictions on people gambling. So why can't I invest my money in
gambling? Doesn't give you any power or say in the private company's operations, Camp.
Yeah,
gambling keeps you
my money.
Gambling keeps you spending money and buying things, right? That's what gambling does.
Yeah.
Last thing I went on with the bank thing was I saw a crazy number that they made in revenue of like overdraft fees, of how much money the banks made from people not having any money.
JP Morgan basically makes all their stuff on fees.
No, but overdraft fees, Camp. Transaction fees, sure. That's the whole crypto push. Is like, we want to waive all transaction fees and use crypto. But to take money for people that literally don't have any money with you anymore.
Yeah. No,
the concept of that is
bad. Bad. Yeah. Gotta love it, man.
Well, I think that's going to do it for us. We somehow lasted 2 hours on the clock, but that's been a lot of ups and downs with Jimmy coming in, Jimmy coming out. I'm going to have like 7 lines of audio to edit from him, and it'll be fun. Yeah. Papa Bogart joined. Who would have thought? On Father's Day. So shout out to all dads. Big weekend for the patriarchy. We got the Army 250th birthday, Trump's birthday. We got no King's protest.
Dad memories.
I was going to ask you to bring out a good dad memory. We can end with that. That's a blue Powerade. I haven't seen one of those forever.
Yeah. When you texted it to me, I was like, dad memories. Like what? Like I don't know, but maybe not the best, but the most prevalent memory I have of my dad, and it wasn't a teaching moment that he was like planned or anything I even noticed till maybe I got older, but I played 2 games, maybe in Tampa, a travel ball, and then we were like driving down to St. Pete. Maybe it was a showcase or something the same day in the afternoon or something. But I just remember I was cramping bad. I'm like sitting in the truck cramping. And then and all I can remember him just like being like, "You all right? Like, want me to pull over?" I was like, "No, sir. No, sir." And I'm like, I'm in the passenger seat, like about to die from these cramps. And he's like, "You all right?" And like, looking back on it, it maybe not been significant, but like just him being like, he was like checking on me. He knew what I was going through, but he was like, "Hey, if you need me to pull over, I will." and just like him being a dad,
Yeah.
you know, like
Like
not like babying me.
Yeah.
He knew it was painful, but like he's like, if you need me to stop, I will, but it's up to you.
Yeah, like giving you the
like,
gentleman's nod of like, hey man, I'll give you the out here. I won't tell anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all, and that's all it was. Just like,
Yeah.
Hey,
that's funny.
I know it sucks, but you know.
I was thinking about another one, but that brought one back to my memory of it was like 9-year-old baseball, little league, back when I was still pitching. So I'm pitching. I used to throw pretty hard back in the day. I was a bigger kid. I got like wider before everyone. I got the man width before most people did. So I was throwing the ball pretty good at that age. Facing my good buddy from school. Throwing, doing whatever. Good game is good game. I've had a couple of like balls back at me in the day, right? You get a couple of those, you're like, oh, but I was never really super scared of them. I throw this guy one, he gets that big barrel copperhead or whatever he was using, that worth copperhead. And I just remember that ball coming right at me. I vividly remember this coming right at me. And I remember getting my glove right here. And that ball said, nope. Didn't even hit it. I got squared up like I was in the boxing ring. And that's the last thing I remember. And I remember looking up on my back and my dad's over me. And he's like, you all right? I definitely got knocked out or blacked out or don't remember at least. He goes, you okay? I go, yeah, I think so. He goes, got all your teeth? I go, yeah, I think so. Didn't have any blood, Camp. It was pretty crazy. But I remember getting up and he helped me up. And I'm like, man, my face, I could see my cheek. And he was like, he goes, he can't do this with his fingers. He can only do this. So he goes like, how many fingers am I holding up? I go 2. He goes, how many fingers am I holding up? I go 3. He goes, good. That's how many strikes you need to throw the next batter. I told the rubber and I stayed in because concussion protocol wasn't a thing back then. But I think I was fine. I took the jaw took most of it without too much concussion, and the little kid was malleable and just got depleted by this guy. But that was the one that you're talking about, the Charlie horse. That was one of those where he was like, definitely. I saw the look of concern on his face. He was like, "You okay?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, I think I'm good." And I had no blood, teeth were fine, but I had a big old cheek for a while and black eye. After that, the one I wanted to share is more of a endearment. There's a lot of them. The general one is growing up and Dad coming home from work. Because I know we got the same threat everyone else did, was wait till Dad comes home so he can whoop your ass. Which only had to be used very little bit in our household. We learned
very seldom.
We were smart, right? We figured it out. We said, you know what? There's things we don't do, and then there's things we do. And if we do those things we're not supposed to do, just try not to get caught, and you'll be okay. And we all survived. But it was him coming home, like he and his friends back then. They loved WWE. They loved the wrestling world, which is a small town, I guess, Florida thing to like. But it was always like, you can't wrestle with each other. Me and my 2 brothers can't wrestle with each other, but you can wrestle when Dad gets home. So we would be pumped. We'd be playing the music and we start wrestling with them, and that was pretty fun. That was a fun memory. Yeah. The one that lives with me for still does, is baseball related, of course. He was my coach. He was our coach from until we could throw a ball to all the way to high school for all of us. Best coach I ever had. We're in districts, I think. We're probably at Lecanto High School. Alma mater of Miles Teller. Shout out Miles Teller. My dad actually gave him pitching lessons.
Really?
Yeah, back before he was a big star. My dad's like, yeah, he chose the right career path.
Yeah.
But I think we're at Lecanto. We have the squeeze play on, and Camp, I'm not fast. Never was fast. Never claimed to be fast. So for some reason, they're not courtesy running for me when you could do that in high school. So I was at third base. We do the squeeze or safety squeeze, so I'm not going. Our guy misses it or he kind of bunched through it. So I'm like, oh, I was ready to go because I'm like, I need to get a head start because I'm slow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I slip and fall because it's a little wet that night, and I get thrown out on the back pick. I remember him coming, and my dad wasn't really he was loud. That's why he gets the name Baritone Brady. But he wasn't really a screamer when bad things would happen. He would blow up when he needed to, but usually it was just, he was right here, teeth together. He didn't use his teeth to our hair. He was like, followed me back in the dugout, ripped me, and he's like, "You get," and I'm sitting there like, "Yes, sir," like doing the right, like, "Yes, sir, yes, sir." I know, because I know I slipped. I was like, "There's nothing I could do." I was pissed off already. It's like, man, I'm not gonna. But man, I just remember him. He goes, "Figure it out next time." But then I remember after the game, I ended up I caught a really good game that game because I had some good stops. I threw some people out too. I just remember him coming up to me going, "Hey, good job, way to save it, way to bounce back," kind of thing. And it was that you're held to the highest account kind of thing, but also like he gave you your due when you would do it. So it wasn't a one-sided thing. And I know that he'll like hearing that because he always was worried about being coach first and then dad, and balancing that act with three kids was tough, especially when he had such high expectations for us and standards for us.
Yeah.
But hey, we all four of us made it to college ball, and we all did pretty good. I think did I do anything cool? The one thing I did cool was the home runs. We did the home runs on the same day. So three brothers.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
The pressure was on me, man. I got told. My sister told me, she's like, "Hey, your other two brothers have home runs today. Are you gonna hit one?" I go, "Well, Jesus, now I guess I have to."
Yeah.
So that was the coolest thing. That was because we gave that to him a couple Father's Days ago. We put all the balls in in a case for him and signed him. So he liked that.
Real quick, when you said dad coming home, this is another one, I guess, short. But we had this old couch, but it had like a little cutout ottoman.
Yeah.
And I just remember, same thing, I would always hide in that same spot when he was coming home because the way our house was, it was right behind the church, and my dad's a pastor. So like I could see when his truck was coming from home from the church. And I would go hide in the same spot every day.
Nice.
Like, 200 pounds ago, it was like very tiny. But then he'd be like, "Hey, you under there?" Yeah, just like same thing, just like waiting for dad to come home. Yeah.
That's the dream, man. Is just carrying that on. That's fun.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Thanks for joining on a Sunday night, last minute, with a lot of technical difficulties. Out of Jim Bob. He texted. He said this was a while ago, but I want to read his text because it's Jim. What do you say here? Man, I'm getting lit up tonight. He goes, "Lost you guys again, man. Hanging up the cleats for tonight."
Yeah.
So, Jim,
We'll get
happy Father's Day. Hopefully you got to spend a couple more hours with your kid. Go watch him sleep or something. Shouldn't be up this night, but we'll go happy prayers up for Bob Eckstein, Bob Bogart, and Spike Fitzpatrick. Grandfather, godfather. All great men in the life there, so. That's what the world needs more of. I was making fun of, not making fun of, but I was at the in-laws' house saying it's Patriarch's Day. So, just as important as matriarch. I didn't say it wasn't. I just said it's Patriarch's Day. So, need both of them. We need both.
All lives matter. Somehow that's offensive. But.
Yeah, but patriarch. Bring back the pauses. Will we make pauses great again? And what were you saying?
Bring back cliches.
That's right. So.
Cliches just like they just offer morals. Like they have some moral glue to them.
Yeah.
As
long as you got to dig deep on them. Don't take them at face value. Dig deep on the cliche. Yeah. Then make sure you get the whole cliche.
Yeah.
So yeah. Thank you for watching whatever episode this is when it uploads. Happy Father's Day. Bring back pauses. Bring back cliches. Stogies with Bogey.
Happy Father's Day.
Have a good
all the fathers.
Have a good night, Camp.
You too, brother.
Play the music.